Welcome to Turbo Eminent channel. The Hyperloop envisions passenger pods traveling through near vacuum tubes at ultra-high speeds, potentially 700 plus mile per hour, 1,100 plus kilometer per hour, using magnetic levitation to reduce friction. The goal is airline-like speeds with metro-like frequency and efficiency. Hyperloop in the urban context, shorter intercity commutes. Thanks for watching. Request you to subscribe the channel. Hyperloop is best suited for connecting major cities within 200 to 500 miles, effectively replacing short-haul flights. For urban travel, it could link metropolitan regions, for example, Los Angeles to San Francisco in under 40 minutes. Integration with metro systems. Future cities could have Hyperloop stations integrated with subways, buses, and EV ride-sharing hubs, acting as high-speed transit spines within larger mobility ecosystems. Reduced congestion. If widely deployed, Hyperloop could divert millions of commuters away from highways and airports. Current progress. Virgin Hyperloop, formerly Virgin Hyperloop 1, successfully tested a pod with passengers in 2020, but recently shifted focus toward freight first due to cost and regulatory challenges. Heart Hyperloop, Europe, is working on a European network, with government backing for feasibility studies. India and Middle East projects. Proposals exist for Mumbai, Pune and Dubai Abu Dhabi routes, where government partnerships could accelerate adoption. The future of urban travel is being reshaped by emerging technologies, and the Hyperloop, a concept popularized by Elon Musk in 2013, remains one of the most intriguing, though still experimental, possibilities. Here's a detailed look at where things stand and what the future could look like. In the year 2050, the boundaries of cities feel very different from the ones we know today. What were once long, exhausting commutes between major metropolitan areas have become quick, seamless trips thanks to Hyperloop technology. The morning rush no longer means sitting in traffic or waiting in endless airport lines. Instead, commuters step into sleek stations built beneath city skylines, where vacuum-sealed pods glide silently into view. Within moments, passengers are whisked away at airline speeds, but without the turbulence, noise, or emissions of traditional travel. Hyperloop has redefined what it means to live in a city. Families can live in smaller, more affordable communities outside of crowded urban centers while still having access to the jobs, schools, and cultural life of a major metropolis. A worker living in Sacramento, for example, can attend a morning meeting in San Francisco, grab lunch with colleagues in Los Angeles, and be home in time for dinner, all without boarding a plane. The concept of the daily commute has expanded from miles to regions, blurring the lines between once separate cities. The technology did not arrive overnight. At first, freight systems proved the value of Hyperloop, moving goods at lightning speed between ports and distribution centers. Over time, as costs fell and regulations adapted, passenger travel followed. Cities had to rethink their infrastructure, integrating Hyperloop hubs with metro lines, ride-sharing networks, and even vertical air taxi pads. The result is a layered transportation web where each mode complements the other, offering travelers flexibility and speed. Of course, challenges remain. Building and maintaining vast tube networks is still expensive, and only the wealthiest regions have fully adopted the system. Yet the presence of Hyperloop has already shifted cultural expectations about distance and time. What was once a weekend trip across the state is now an everyday option. In this new world, urban travel is no longer defined by the limits of geography. The Hyperloop has made proximity a choice, not a constraint, and in doing so, it has reshaped how people live, work, and connect across the globe. By the middle of the century, the very rhythm of urban life has shifted. The sound of honking horns and the sight of clogged freeways, once symbols of every great city, have given way to the quiet hum of efficiency. In this world, the Hyperloop is not just a marvel of technology, it is the spine of urban mobility. For millions, the daily routine begins in bright, glass-domed stations where digital boards guide travelers to their pods. There are no lines, no baggage checks, no endless waiting. People arrive, step into a capsule, and within seconds, they are accelerating through near-vacuum tunnels at speeds once reserved only for jetliners. The impact is felt everywhere. Cities that once competed fiercely for talent now share it freely, because distance no longer matters. A designer in Austin can easily collaborate in person with a tech team in Dallas before heading home for dinner. Students apply to universities hundreds of miles away, knowing that commuting is as simple as boarding the local train. Even families, once divided by geography, now live spread across regions but remain closely connected thanks to journeys that take minutes instead of hours. What began as a bold experiment for cargo transformed slowly but surely into a passenger revolution. At first, it was expensive, something used by business travelers and governments eager to show progress. But as infrastructure spread, costs fell, and integration with metro lines, buses, and autonomous taxis made Hyperloop as common as the subway. Today, it is routine to see commuters stepping off a pod in the heart of a financial district and transferring seamlessly to a quiet electric tram that takes them the last mile home. The cultural landscape has changed alongside the technology. Real estate patterns have shifted, no longer tied to being close to work. Entire communities have grown around suburban Hyperloop hubs, combining affordability with accessibility. A small town 200 miles from a capital city now thrives like a modern suburb, connected in spirit and economy to the urban core. Even tourism has been transformed. Weekend trips across the country are spontaneous, with travelers hopping into pods the way earlier generations booked train tickets. Yet the story of Hyperloop is not just about speed, it is about possibility. It represents the idea that cities are no longer bound by their borders, that time is no longer the obstacle it once was. People live wider, freer, more connected lives. Future possibilities. Freight-first deployment. By moving cargo in vacuum tubes, Hyperloop could prove viable, reduce highway congestion, and pave the way for passenger systems. Urban region Hyperloops. Instead of city center to city center, Hyperloop may first connect suburban/exurban hubs to reduce sprawl-driven congestion. Long-term vision. If costs fall and technology matures, Hyperloop could become the 21st century metro system, ultra-fast, sustainable, and seamlessly connected with other smart mobility solutions. For many, the Hyperloop is more than a transport system, it is a symbol of a future where technology bends geography to human will, and where urban life extends far beyond the city skyline.